Prime Minister Narendra Modi asked world leaders at the G20 summit to update global organizations like the United Nations Security Council to match the current world. He also emphasized India's request for a permanent seat on the UNSC and mentioned that institutions that do not adapt to change eventually become less relevant. In this backdrop, the Federal explains India's bid to get a permanent seat at the world's most powerful table. The United Nations was formed after World War II in 1945 to maintain international peace and security. It has 6 principal organs: General Assembly, Security Council, International Court of Justice, Secretariat, Economic and Social Council, and Trusteeship Council. UN's primary responsibility of maintaining international peace and security lies with the Security Council. The body has 5 permanent and 10 non-permanent members. The permanent members are France, China, Russia, UK, and the United States. Non-permanent members are chosen to ensure fair representation among different regions. There are 5 members from Africa or Asia, 1 from Eastern Europe, 2 from Latin America, and 2 from Western Europe or elsewhere. Every year, 5 of the 10 non-permanent members are elected by the General Assembly for 2-year terms, while 5 retire. The presidency rotates among the members every month. The permanent members of the United Nations Security Council, called the P5, were originally chosen based on their status as major allied powers in World War II and have maintained the world's most powerful military forces ever since. These 5 have the highest military expenditures along with Germany and India and are officially recognized as nuclear weapon states, though there are other states known or believed to be in possession of nuclear weapons. The permanent members have several significant powers which are outlined in the UN Charter. The 15-member UN Security Council is meant to address threats to international security, foster negotiations, impose sanctions, and authorize the use of force, including the deployment of peacekeeping missions. But its 5 permanent members have a special veto power. A veto from any one of the P5 members can block the adoption of a resolution, regardless of the level of international support it may have. This gives them significant influence over the Council's decisions, and this is often misused. The permanent members have been accused of misusing their veto to suit their national agendas at the expense of global security. For instance, Russia vetoed many resolutions condemning its actions in Ukraine. USA has used it 42 times to protect Israel in its conflict with Palestine. China has deployed it as diplomatic weapon against India on the issue of designating terrorists, etc. Why India should get the UNSC permanent seat? Currently, the UNSC structure reflects the world after World War II, and India believes it is outdated and does not represent today's world. India wants the UNSC to match modern global realities, and the Indo-Pacific region's growing importance has highlighted the need for change. Moreover, Africa and Latin America have no representation, while Europe is overrepresented among the P5. Even the UN chief Antonio Guterres agrees with India, saying we should adjust the UNSC composition to match today's world and that multilateral institutions reflect an outdated era. India has contributed over 2.5 lakh soldiers to UN peacekeeping missions, and as of early 2022, they served in 49 out of 71 missions and representing 1.4 billion people. Over the years, India has earned its recognition. As a nuclear weapon state with a no first use policy, it aligns with P5 members. India is among the world's fastest growing economies, ranking 3rd in PPP terms. Its soft power as the world's largest democracy also adds to its global standing. Given all this, India is still denied its seat at the high table. So what's blocking India's chances? Expanding the UNSC is tough because the UN Charter has strict rules. Any amendment needs 2/3 of all members' approval, and the veto power of any of the 5 permanent members can block it. Moreover, China has been against India's entry into the elite club. Some other nations too have opposed India's bid. They argued that despite being a nuclear state, India has refused to sign the Non-Proliferation Treaty and the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty. Further, they pointed out that India still heavily relies on military imports from the US and Russia. It is yet to display its military might beyond the Indo-Pacific. Also, as per 2022 records, India's UN contributions were $29.9 million, which is much lower than the P5 countries and Germany. India's soft power has also come under criticism as despite economic growth, India continues to perform poorly on Human Development Indicator. In the Human Development Index, India is even behind its immediate neighbors, which are smaller economies. Its poor performance in socio-economic and other relevant indicators, including press freedom, happiness index, etc., have also been brought up. India's best chance at a permanent seat in the UNSC is through its push for the body's reformation. Experts suggested in January this year that if the UNSC's membership expands in the next decade, India has a strong chance of securing a permanent seat. The positive news for India is that the UN General Assembly decided to keep discussing Security Council reform through intergovernmental negotiations. The G4 nations comprising Brazil, Germany, India and Japan are 4 countries which support each other's bids for permanent seats on the United Nations Security Council. As per an Atlantic Council survey, India has a 26% chance of getting a UNSC permanent seat, followed by Japan with 11% chances and Brazil with 9% chances. However, 64% of the respondents to this survey expect no new permanent seats to be added to Council until 2033. Now, there have been various allegations that India was given a permanent seat at the table in the 50s, but it was declined by then Prime Minister Nehru. Is that true? Did Jawaharlal Nehru really reject the offer for a permanent seat? Critics say yes, but Nehru denied it in the parliament in 1955. He explained there was no formal or informal offer. He said, "There has been no offer, formal or informal, of this kind. Some vague references have appeared in the press about it, which have no foundation in fact. The composition of the Security Council is prescribed by the UN Charter, according to which certain specified nations have permanent seats. No change or addition can be made to this without an amendment of the Charter. There is therefore no question of a seat being offered and India declining it. Our declared policy is to support the admission of all nations qualified for UN membership." But historians mention 2 informal offers for permanent seat, from the US in 1950 and the Soviet premier in 1955. Nehru refused the US offer, suspecting it aimed to create issues with China. The Soviet offer was more of a test, not a serious proposal. India deserves a permanent place in the Council considering the size of its economy, population and the fact that it is the largest democracy in the world. India has become a major player not only in Asia but also in the world. India's presence as a permanent member will be an acknowledgement of its rise as a global power, ready to play a key role in the Council's objectives of international peace and security. Subscribe to the Federal's YouTube page for more news and updates.